Welcome to the Fitness Mindset Podcast. Amanda here, and each week I will be bringing on guests that will help you live your best life. That might sound a little bit cliche, but it's podcasts like this that will offer a diverse range of topics to help you overcome life's setbacks, to help you achieve your fitness, career, and life goals. This podcast has been sponsored by my coaching practice, Divine Physiques Coaching, offering one-on-one, online and small group training out of CS Fitness in Caroline Springs here in Melbourne, and I am now available for corporate speaking, which is something I am incredibly passionate about. Stay tuned until the end of this episode so I can fill you in on an up and coming event coming in Victoria. Guys, welcome back to episode 29 of the Fitness Mindset Podcast. We're doing something a little bit different today. So I have a very special friend of mine on the line, all the way from Sydney. His name is Benjamin Gray, better known as Carla from Bankstown, his alter ego on Instagram. So if any of you have been watching or following Carla from Bankstown, he is an impersonation of a typical Lebanese female from the area. And I guess you stereotype what a Lebanese female is like. So Ben, you're an interesting character, and you and I have become really good friends.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're also gay. You know, and we're going to talk about some of the struggles, I guess, of being gay. But we're also going to look at the happier side of you and your aim with where you want to take Carla from Bankstown online, what that does for you personally. What do you feel, you know, how it differs from your actual personality, your day-to-day personality, you know? So
I feel like we're both two very, very, very different people, 100%.
So what do you do day to day when you're not Carla from Bankstown? Like take us back, give us a light day in the life of Ben, and then how Carla came to.
I mean, I've always kind of been like that, like class clown kind of thing. Like in high school, I was always, like the first high school I went to, I was extremely depressed being at that school. It was an all boys school, so you can only imagine like me being who I am.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like channel who I was as a person. Like I already knew who I was from the very beginning. It was just a matter of like other people weren't really accepting of that. So I guess like we can touch up on it later, me being bullied in high school, all that kind of stuff. And then I moved on to a co-ed school, which was 10 times better than, you know, the school I went to before. There was girls there who like kind of understood me, wanted to be friends with me. And then, I just started doing like, you know, I've always been, I wouldn't say immature. I feel like it's more like I've just always been I've just always been crazy. I've always done voices. I've always tried to like make people smile, make people laugh. Like that's my whole thing. Like that's what I want to do. And I feel like the whole thing with Carla, it's like, it's not just necessarily, you know, like a take on the Lebanese girl from the area. It's just like any person from that area, regardless of like what race they are, they all act the exact same because they're all from the area. Like I know a whole bunch of white girls that are just like, you know, do the same thing, like, oh my god, babe, no way, what do you mean? Like just all that shit.
Nah,
so like
that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
So when did Carla start for you online?
I pretty much started, so my friends and I, we say a lot of people ask me like, where did you come up with Carl? Like where did this character come from? So my best friends and I, we were at a McDonald's in Bankstown one night, and we were just like sitting there just having coffee or whatever it was, and this girl like came up to us, these two girls, and one of them had like full like Adidas get up on. She had the tracksuit pants, but one leg was like rolled all the way up and one was down. And we were already just like, oh my god, here we go. Like, what is
Ghetto.
this bitch gonna say to us?
Real ghetto, yeah.
And he literally ghetto. And the first thing she said to us, she just like walked straight up. She's like, these got a back. And I was like, sorry, I'm not even kidding you, I swear to God. She's like, you've got one buck? I'm like, no, I don't, sorry. She's like, what about $2? I'm like, I don't have one, I don't have two. Like, what do you want from me? So after that, I was just like, she walked away, and my friends, we used to do this thing where they would say to me, we'd see someone randomly, and they'd be like, okay, Ben, give us like, what's their name, what's their story, where are they from?
Yeah.
And I saw this girl, and I was like, that's Carla, she's from Bankstown, she thinks she's all that. And then
Uh-huh.
that was it. We just like started from there. So it was a good, like,
That's amazing.
I don't know, maybe like 8 years ago, I think.
That long ago.
Yeah. And I just kind of like, I did it for a little bit. So when the Real Housewives of Melbourne and first started all that time ago, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do like Real Housewives of Bankstown because I think that would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So my best friend at the time and I, he actually lives in Melbourne now. We did a whole bunch of filming, and him and I just made up our own characters. We did the whole editing thing, put it up, and it ended up getting picked up by a couple of like meme pages on Facebook because Instagram wasn't that big back then. So
Yep.
that kind of launched it and ended up getting like up to like 50,000 views
Oh, awesome.
in like a week. It was crazy. And like people on the street were recognizing me. They're like, oh, you're that housewife Carla. I was like, oh yeah, that's me. Like,
Oh my
it was
God,
just so
that's funny.
surreal. And then
Yeah.
it died down after a while. I was just kind of like, I was just focusing on like work and doing like other stuff. I did a lot of like club promoting back in the day when I was younger, and like, DJing and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of like stopped doing a lot of things to like, I don't know, I'm not a very like, I don't know how to say it. When it comes to certain things, sometimes I get very lazy, and I know a lot of people get lazy. I just kind of like lost that motivation to do it, so I just kind of stopped doing it for a while. So it's only been in the last like year and a bit that it's like picked up, and she's like taken off, and she's become a household name. Everybody knows who Carla is now.
So did you kind of like in that break, did you go, okay, how can we revamp Carla's image, change her look? Because every now and then you put on old school videos of Carla's old character. She had long dark hair, a pretty rough looking wig, makeup wasn't as good.
Yeah.
And then you got Carla now, who's got these awesome pink balayage wigs with amazing full face of makeup. So I mean, did you kind of go, okay, let's ramp this up? And do you do your own makeup?
So I do my own makeup. I've like kind of just been teaching myself how to do it because I never, like when I first started doing Carla, obviously the videos and the photos are so horrendous. I look at them sometimes, I'm like, oh my fucking God, what have I done? So like, she used to have a beard. Like I would just never shave. I would just put makeup over my face because I know a lot of like, there are a lot of girls, like a lot of my friends who are like, Arab or like Wog or whatever, like my best friend, they'll be like, oh, I'm so sick of like my facial hair here, or like I've got like a bit of hair on my lip. And I just always thought that was so funny. So I was like, you know what? Carla has a fucking beard. Let's just do it.
Yeah,
so
it's actually funny.
So I used, yeah, exactly. And so I started with I think like every gay kid has like an experience where they just like use their mum's makeup. And my mum is Australian, so she's like super pale. So it's like the makeup that I was wearing was like not my color. It completely made me look obviously like what old school Carla looks like. And I just had this old ratty wig that was just, it kind of looks like the hair that you take out of like a vacuum when you clean it. And just like put it on top of my head. And
so where'd you get that wig from?
I don't even remember. I used to get my wigs from like Hot Dollar or like, like Ronnie's or like the Reject shop, like those cheap $2 shops.
Yeah.
And now I'm like spending like, 100, $150 on a wig.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like she's kind of like had like a glow up, I guess. She's
high maintenance.
Hairy.
Carla's pretty high maintenance now.
Yeah,
she's such an influencer.
Definitely.
Very funny. So
that's the goal for her. She wants to be on all these Instagram ads doing like teeth whitening and like diet shakes and all those like fake tan shit, all that stuff.
And you also do, so you do general stories and a bit of comedy and stuff. And then you've got, is it Medium Psycho? It's like a series.
Oh, Carla trying her hand at becoming like the thing with Carla is there's always so many sayings and words that she just does not know how to say properly.
Yeah.
So when I say medium psycho, I'm trying to be like a psychic, like
Yeah.
like a psychic medium.
Yeah.
So I was just like, medium psycho, that's her. She wants to be a medium psycho, but you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So
I
it's
love
just
that. I love that.
that's probably one of my favorite things. My best friend Will, who does a lot of my filming, and he makes, like, he did this design for this t-shirt and all that kind of stuff. So he came up with the idea. He's like, let's just do it. So we did it, and it got actually a pretty good response. At first I was really hesitant. I was like, I don't know if this is going to translate. I don't know if this is going to be funny, because that's the thing, like, I make so much shit and I just don't know. To me, it could be funny, but to, like, 10 other people, it could be like, oh, that's really not funny. Do you know what I mean? So
And what's
it's a
the
bit like
feedback?
hit and
What's the
miss.
feedback been?
You know what? Since I started this page, I actually haven't had a lot of. I haven't had a lot of hate. I thought I would get a lot more than what I'm getting, if that makes sense. Like, obviously, it's just a lot of, because when it first started, like, the demographics kind of changed. It went from, I started out having all these, like, it was just like little kids. So it was like between the ages of like 12 and like 16 that were following Carla, and they were just commenting, obviously, like, are you a boy, are you a girl, you're a faggot, you're gay, you're this, you're that, like, you're ugly, you're fat. And I'm just like, you guys obviously don't know that this is just a character. Like, do you know what I mean? So I did that, and then yeah, like, the feedback's been pretty good. Like, a lot of people are responding really well to it, which is good, which is what I wanted, because I didn't want it to be. I want to. Eventually, what I want to do is I want to be like an advocate for people who want to be different and want to, step outside their comfort zone and just not afraid to be themselves, kind of thing. Because I was always like that as a kid. I was very, like, at school, everyone was just like, oh, you're so gay, you're so fat, you're this, you're that, whatever. And it kind of, like, made me not want to be who I was, because I was almost, like, ashamed. I didn't want to show who I was. I didn't want to, make people laugh like I do now. So yeah,
You
that's like the
were,
main thing I'm trying to do.
yeah. So you were at the boys' school. How long were you there for? And did you have many friends when you were at the boys' school?
I was there from year 7 to, like, halfway through year 10. It, like, kind of, like, I started off with a lot of friends, obviously, because from primary school, all my friends came with us. So it went from that to, they just kind of slowly just dropped off like flies, kind of thing. So I did make a group of friends who I still, like, randomly catch up with, once in a blue moon. They'll, like, message me, like, let's go for a coffee and have a laugh and whatever.
Yeah.
But it just kind of, like, as the years went on, it got worse and worse. There was just, it's just, boys are horrible. Like, point blank, boys are horrible. And, like, especially being in a boys' school in Bankstown, where everyone's so, like, if you're not, like, cool, then you're out. That's it. Do you know what I mean? It's very much like they were just like, oh, I used to, back in the day, I used to wear, like, black nail polish and, like, listen to, like, emo music. And everyone's like, oh, you worship the devil, you're a faggot, you're this, you're that. And it's just like, I'm just trying to express myself. Like, it's not, it doesn't change who I am. I'm still the same person. It got to a point where I was getting physically assaulted quite a lot at school, by the same group of people. The teachers did absolutely nothing. The school did absolutely nothing. So my mum just kind of, like, she had enough, and we went to the police. We tried to get, like, some kind of, like, AVO out on this kid, because it was just like a daily thing. Like, he was punching me, attacking me, pushing me over, throwing food at me, all this kind of stuff. So we went to the school, and the school basically said to us, they were like, oh, maybe Benjamin should change who he is to fit in with these boys, so he's not a target. And my mom was just like, this is not this is not something I want for my child. So that was it. I left that day. I had, like, a week off school until we sorted everything out, and then started at the co-ed school, public school, and yeah, that was it.
Okay. So so how old are you now, Ben?
I am 27, turning 28 November.
Cool. So let's touch on a bit of your sexuality now. How young were you when you knew you were gay? And are you out to your family?
So I think it was more, I would have realized when, I'm trying to think of when it was. Like, it's weird, like, you know, you kind of always know, but you
Yep.
just don't want to like say it to yourself. Like
Yep.
for me, you know, I was like, oh, you know, I really like this girl, I'm gonna date her. And, you know, I would be in love with girls and like want to hang out with girls and all that kind of stuff. But
Yep.
I'd go home at night and lay in my bed and be like, fuck, like I don't actually think this is what I want.
Yep.
I think it was maybe when I was maybe like 14, I kind of like thought to myself, this is not who I am. I think this is, you know, I'm different than everybody else. I kind of felt a bit, at first, I was scared. Like, I was frightened. I was like crying. I was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to tell my family? Like, I'm so scared to, you know, tell people, like, what are they going to think of me? I was
Yep.
very ashamed and I was very, like, you know, scared to be myself. And, you know, and I remember having a conversation with my sister and I like broke down in tears and was explaining to her like how I felt, and she just like looked at me and she's like, Ben, I always knew. I was just
Mm.
waiting for you to talk to me about it. You know, you don't have to be scared. And that made
Yeah.
me feel 10 times better. So she was really the first person that I told that I came out to, kind of thing. So I didn't
Is
really
that
say anything for a while.
is that our girl, Crystal Diamond?
Yeah. Our celebrity bodyguard, Crystal Diamond.
So when I
Oh
went
my
to
God.
Sydney, just for everyone listening, when I went to Sydney a couple of weeks ago, I met Ben's sister for the first time. And we wanted to try and have alter ego names. And I marked her because she was wearing all black. I said, well, you're our security guard. You got number 69 on you and your name's Crystal Diamond. It ended up being a really good night. It was actually one
Yeah,
of
it
the best
was.
nights. It was
Yeah.
fun as. So
Yeah,
we'll have to do something like that again. But okay, so,
definitely.
and I think, you know, what you've touched on is really important because so many young kids and parents and family members that are a sibling, a parent, an auntie, an uncle, whatever,
Yeah,
to a gay person, more often than not, they know. It's just they're waiting for
yeah,
that person to come out to them. But I think what a
yeah,
lot of people probably need to do more is if they see someone struggling or behaving maybe a little bit differently or maybe just a little bit more introverted, is if you feel like they might be gay, maybe approach them about it and sit them down and say, you know, how's life going?
yeah,
How's your dating life going? Are you struggling with anything? Is anything, you know what? I'm just going to say it straight out. Are you gay? Because if you are, that's okay. But I've kind of
yeah,
felt it for a long time. And I just want to know if that's the case with you, you know, and it'd just be so good if a lot of family members would do the approaching first rather than
yeah,
waiting for
definitely.
kids to come out because they're struggling and they're taking their own lives because of the shame that they feel
Yeah,
they might have,
yeah.
you know, on their families. And it's really sad. It's really sad that in
Mm,
today's day and age, so you're not entirely out to your parents, are you?
not really. Like I know that a lot of people watching are going to be like, how is this not possible? Like how is this possible for it or whatever?
Yeah.
So it would have been a while back. My dad and his family, he's got a massive family. He's got 10 sisters. So, you know, growing up, I've got, you know, like 35 first cousins on my dad's side. So, you
Wow.
know, family like means a lot to me because I'm very, very close with all my family.
Yeah. That's
We
great.
had like a massive falling out with my dad's side of the family a few years ago. I think it was maybe 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago. We had like a massive falling out because my sister at the time was experimenting. She was dating girls as well. It was just something that she just wanted to try, I guess. And
Yep.
it's not so much for her anymore. But you know, looking back on that, it was just like one of my aunties who's actually my godmother. It's kind of like hard to think that, you know, someone in your family would do that, but it was more so we had a massive falling out between my sister and my cousins, and my auntie kind of just like, you know, wanted to, just out of spite, she was just basically messaged my dad and said, you know, you should ask your son about his relationship with boys and all that kind of stuff. And it just like really hurt because if that wasn't said, I probably still wouldn't have said anything to my parents. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I probably still would be like, no, I'm not, like, you know, it's just it kind of like took that opportunity away from me to sit my family down and say, hey, listen, this is what's happening with me. I just want to let you guys know first before anything else happens. And that hurt me a lot because I really wanted to, you know, have that conversation with them. And I'm never going to be able to have that chat because you can only really come out to your family once. You can't really do it again. So, yeah, it was really like, it was hard.
Yep. Well, I mean, do you feel like they sort of treat you differently? Do you feel like your relationship's pretty good with them? Do you feel like you need to have that conversation again with them? Or do you think that maybe like everyone just knows and maybe it's just not spoken about type thing?
I feel like with my mom, like after that whole thing happened with my auntie, I spoke to my mom. I remember we were driving to get something to eat, and I was just really upset. And she just said, you know, what's going on? Is everything okay? And I kind of just broke down, and I just said, listen, like I need to tell you something, but I don't know how I'm supposed to say it to you. And she just like looked at me, and she's like, I know, it's okay. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, I've always known. I'm your mother. Like I'm supposed to know these things. And that just made me feel like the weight from my shoulders had just been like taken away. I was like, oh, because, you know, my mom is like one of my best friends. Like I love her to death. She does everything that she possibly can to make sure that my family is safe and we're good. And, you know, and she was one person that I was most upset about disappointing because I didn't want her to think that I was not living up to what she wanted. Does that make sense? Like I just didn't want, same thing with my dad as well. Like my dad's very old school and, you know, he knows like a lot of my friends are gay and he knows all of them. He knows they're all gay. He has no problems with them whatsoever. It's just more so, I feel like, I don't know, it's like that thing where you always get drilled into your head when you're a kid, like you got to grow up, you got to get married, you got to have kids, like that kind of thing with my dad because he comes from such a big family. He's like, you know, you've got to carry on the legacy of the last name because he's the only boy in the family. I'm the only boy with the same last name. So it's like, you know, you got to have kids, you've got to, you know, get married and carry on this name and be like, you know, make your family proud kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, fuck, like,
it's a lot of pressure.
What if I can't do that? Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of pressure. And I was just kind of like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, how am I supposed to tell him that, you know, I can still have children. It's not like I'm not going to have kids.
Yeah.
You know, eventually I do want to have children, but it's like, at that time, I was like, I didn't think about those kind of things. I was just like, fuck, what am I going to do? I can't do it. So I feel like I need to have that conversation properly. It's not something that we speak about to each other, but it's kind of like we know, but we don't say it. It's like unspoken. So.
Okay, so Carla from Bankstown has a type of personality that is obviously contrasting to your day-to-day personality. Talk about Carla and what sort of personalities does Carla have for those that don't know who Carla is? And how is it so different to who you are on a day-to-day basis?
I mean, looking back now, I feel like I'm starting to channel a lot more of who Carla is as a person because I feel like because I'm doing it so often, it's kind of like we're starting to merge into the same person, which is a bit scary because like I go to work and, you know, me and all my friends like talk to each other and I'll say something, they'll turn around like, what? Like they'll say things that Carla says all the time.
What if a customer pisses you off? Are you just going to go, whoopa?
Sometimes I do. I'm like, what? They'll say something, excuse me, do you have this? And so I'm like, nah.
So abrupt. Carla's so abrupt. I love her.
That's what I mean. Like with Carla, she doesn't care. Like she embracing who she is. She embraces her body. She doesn't care that, you know, I feel like Carla sometimes looks like a sack of potatoes, but she doesn't give a shit. Like she'll wear t-shirts that will show her stomach. My stomach will hang out and my mum will be like, Benjamin, what are you doing? Why your body's like, well, I'm like, I don't care. Like Carla doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
She's very like I wanted to channel in all that stuff about like body positivity and being, positive towards like the LGBT community and all that kind of stuff when I'm doing Carla, because I want to teach these little kids whose parents are telling them like that's wrong, that it's okay to be that way if you are. Because I've had little kids and I've had, underage kids message me and be like, I'm so scared to come out to my family, but because of you and what you're doing with Carla, your attitude, how you just don't care what people think, it's making me feel like I can. And that stuff makes me feel really good. Like, seeing stuff like that makes me feel that I'm, doing the right thing, that I'm doing
100%.
a good thing in this world with this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So Carla, I mean, I've been following Carla for a little while now, and you've really linked in with a lot of the Married at First Sight crew. How did all of that sort of come about? I mean, it seems like it's almost prevalent that we are friends with you first. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're the go-to
I know,
socialite.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's so weird because I remember watching when yours was, I remember going through, because I was just like, I'm not going to watch this season. Like, I can't put all my time and energy into watching this show again, because I got so involved in it last year in terms of like watching it and getting so angry at all these dumb bitches on the TV, just like.
Guys, I'm so sorry. We had a bit of an internet failure just then. I've had to hotspot off my phone now. We're back again, thank God. So we're going into the world's going into meltdown at the moment with this whole coronavirus, and maybe the internet's being impacted too. Anyway, back on track. So what I want to know is how you got so connected with a lot of the maths crew.
So, I mean, it's so weird because like watching like the last season and then how, I got connected with a couple of people from that season who I still talk to regularly, like Lauren and Cyrell, who are like two really good friends of mine now, like we talk all the time. My mum was like to me, this season, don't get involved, don't talk to anyone, just leave it alone. I'm just like, yeah, but like I love talking to these people because I want to like know, I want to know them because, looking at, people like yourself and people like Cyrell and people like Lauren, it's like you guys are people who I would be friends with if I just met you out in the street. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was to meet you at like a party or like a club, I think we would become friends. And I remember going through the followers from this season, from your season, and like watching, like going through the Instagrams. I remember clicking on yours and I was like, oh, that's right, because I remember hearing there was going to be a lesbian couple, and then it said follow back and I was like, oh, she's already following me. So I went to message you and it had like our like thread of messages, and it was like stuff that you had like replied to or like reacted to on my story from like November, October last year, and I was like,
and the bitch didn't even respond.
Oh my god.
What a bitch. Like, and now that I'm famous, she wanted to chat.
I'm just trying to get my name out there. You know how it is, babe, being influencer.
Clearly. So what drew you to Cy? Did you approach Cyrell and Lauren originally, or did they reach out to you?
I'm just trying to think. I remember seeing Cyrell on, when was it? Because I used to talk to Liz a lot as well, and her and I did a couple of things, but I don't really speak to her as much anymore.
Yep.
Her and I did like a video together, and she was like, oh my god, you have to meet Cyrell, like Cyrell and Carla would be like best friends. And I was like, yeah, I've been trying to like hit her up to see if she wants to like do something, because I think it would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And then I found out she was doing she was hosting some like maths trivia night out like near my way. So I was like, all right, let's go. We'll buy tickets. We went. I ended up messaging her on Instagram. She replied and was like, yes, let's catch up for a drink when you come. Let me know when you're here. And then we sat outside, we were talking, having a laugh, and then that was it. She's like, give me a number, let's hang out, let's chat. And then I think the weekend after that, she was in the city. She rang me. She's like, come out to the city. So I went out with her, hung out for a bit, and then we've just been like friends ever since. And then I met Lauren through, I think it was through Cyrell. I think it was just like more so because like a lot of the people were sharing my stuff and whenever a lot of more people were following me and like tagging their friends. So like you've got people like Tamara from last year, she had all her friends had already been following me. They were tagging her, then she started following me, and then like Samuel started following me. Samuel Levi, love him, he's so cute.
He's
He
awesome.
started following me as well.
Yep. Yep.
It's just like a chain reaction. Like, you know, everyone wants to like kind of jump on the Carla bandwagon, wants to like see what kind of gronk she is. You know what I mean? So it's been good. And like, you know, Lauren and I, we went to the Cyrill's gender reveal party. I ended up like waiting outside for her so we could go in together because I didn't know anyone except for Cyril and Eden. Like they were the only two people that I knew of going into that party. I was a bit like, oh my God, what am I going to do? All these famous people are there. And her and I hung out. We became really like, we just like gelled so well together. And ended up meeting Jules and Cam. Jules is so beautiful, love her. I've been talking to her a lot, doing a lot of things with her as well coming up, which is good.
Yeah, Jules is genuine.
Yeah,
She's genuine and warm. And I randomly bumped into Jules and Cam in Sydney last year during our publicity stuff, and they were gracious enough to just give us their time. And Jules has shown her support online too. So yeah, she's done really well. I can honestly say, like, she's done so well for her own personal brand.
Definitely.
You know, just really kept it classy online, and good on her, because you know it can be so easy to go the other way and to get involved with the drama side of it, and she just kept right away from it. Done really well in that sense. So good on her.
I also had like at one point I had like Jess from last year. She was following me on Instagram, and I was just like, I don't want to involve myself in this shit with her. No, thank you. And like, I don't know, it was weird. Like she had followed me, and I didn't really like see her. She would just comment on everything. It was more so like once I started talking to Cyrell, obviously her and Cyrell didn't like each other. It was more so after like all the shit aired on TV, the more that I was doing things with these other people, she was commenting and all this kind of stuff. And I just kind of got a bit like, I'm a very loyal person, so I'm not going to like go against anybody. If you don't like someone, I don't like someone. I'm not going to like, do you know what I mean?
I'm like that.
It was just, definitely. Like, if you've, you know, hurt my friends, I'm not going to talk to you. Why should I?
Yeah.
So
did you feel like it was not as genuine, like maybe her commenting on your stuff, like she just wanted to sort of follow the crowd and get in with whatever it is you were doing?
Yeah, a little bit like that. Like, I mean, I don't really know, and I never really had like her and I never really spoke. It was just more so she would just comment on my stuff. That was it. There was no like, hey babe, how are you? Like, it's just, I don't know. It was just really odd. I just kind of like distanced myself from that and tried not to be so caught up with, because I obviously didn't want to involve myself in anything that wasn't my business. I'm not going to sit there and be like, yeah, but you said this on TV, but you said this and you did that. Like, that's not my business. I would not do that at all. Unless they mention my name, then I'll fucking throw hands. But no, I'm not going to just plot myself into something that doesn't involve me. No way.
And that's so funny because Carla is the complete opposite. Carla is all about the drama. She's right up in on that. She's like, give us a taste of Carla. So like, pretend you got your wig on, your makeup's on. I think your video's frozen. Hang on, let's wait till your video comes good, because I want people to see you in action with Carla. But so I think like we touched on, here we go. All right, give us a bit of a rendition of something you would say. Like, Carla's really dramatic, very charismatic. Like if you're opening up, say, an Instagram video.
All right. Do you want me to get a wig on? I've got a wig.
Grab a wig. Let's do it.
Wait, give me 1 sec. Let me go grab a wig. Wait.
Take your time.
I probably should have put one in my room. Where is that?
Too funny. I love his wigs. Wigs are awesome. Guys, in the meantime, if you have any feedback on the podcast, feel free to comment, like, subscribe as well. And we hope that the content that you're listening to so far is bringing you some value. And we'll just wait for Ben to throw on a wig. Oh, look out. Look out. Here's the pink balayage.
I'm just like, so I used to have this wig, right? The original like Carla from Bankstown wig, which is what Will's drawn in his photo here. And I had that from when I did my first video, which was like 6-7 years ago. And very recently we like found it. It is so disgusting. It's completely matted. It's like almost like in dreadlocks, like it's nasty. So
because you've got to really maintain.
We tried to salvage it.
Yeah.
How?
Because you've got to maintain your wigs. You've got to brush your wigs. Isn't there like a certain brush you need to use for them?
You have to use like a detangling brush, but like sometimes I don't know. Can you see me? Is it like lagging still or no?
It's frozen. It's a bit frozen. I think it might be your internet connection.
You know what? Probably. Let me try and connect my.
Oh my God. Oh, the internet is shit house today. Really bad. I just hope it doesn't sound horrible once we edit everything. Anyway, put your horse mane on.
All right, let's record this. You gotta, I think, ask me about Carla again, and I'll chuck the wig back on.
Baby, we're already recording.
Oh, wow! Oh my God! What do you mean, but? So I don't know if I got it in so before this thing.
Hurry up and chuck it on in case our internet shits itself again.
Okay, I'm coming. Wait. So yeah, I had that old crappy wig. It ended up getting dreadlocks. It was really great. Will and I decided to soak it in hot water and try and like salvage it. It made it worse. It stunk. I ended up leaving it in the corner of my room in the bucket. I forgot about it and it went moldy and it was so bad. I was like, what is that smell? I could not find it for weeks.
Oh no.
I was like, oh fuck. It's the fucking wig. It was like growing a fucking mind of its own. Alright, let's check this on.
Do you feel back to normal?
Oh wow, it's been a while since I've had this wig on, but well.
Oh my God. So what kills me is you've got these characters with Carla. So you've got Janan, who's someone that you hate. Have you got Moe?
Crazy rat dog.
All right, so you just do like a rendition, something like pretend you're on Instagram now. Go for it.
All right, sure guys, it's Carla from Bankstown, chit chat this, that, talk shit, get hipper. And guess what, but I'm full here with my beautiful sister Amanda. Wow, little honey butt. I just want to let you know, first of all, babe, I'm not a lesbian, so don't try to crack on to me, but it's been a while, so like if you want to do it, I don't care, bro, just do it. I'm so hot, but.
Oh my God. Too funny. So you run like Instagram lives occasionally and you just get randoms on the live and you just it's the funniest thing. I've been a fan for months of Carla. And the thing about Carla is you don't give a shit, and that's the beauty of your character. You know, and I think if more people if everyone else can find their inner Carla, I think the world would be a much more happier place. Now,
100%.
Do you think because I mean, I've hung out with you as Ben. Yeah. And Ben is a much quieter version of Carla. And Ben has insecurities, unlike Carla, who's a raging whore. We love Carla.
Yeah, she is. That's the perfect word, bro. I'm a fucking whore, bro. That's it. I'm a ganger.
gives gobbies to all the local Arabs.
Bro, that's it. Down at Grenville Macca's, bro. That's it. Don't tell Taita, bro. I'll get in trouble, bro.
Taita is grandmother in Lebanese for people that don't know. And the grandmother is like the head of the family in a European family, basically. Too funny.
Yeah.
All right. So where do you want to take say Carla? Because is Carla like the long-term vision for you, like to be an online entertainer?
I mean, at the moment, it's kind of where it's heading. I really want to do. I have other characters that I do. I have other characters that I've done before.
Yep.
Actually, I'll link you to some of them on my on YouTube because I've got like an old YouTube channel with like all these old videos on it.
Yep.
I want it to be like a Crystal thing. Like I want to do some kind of TV show with all the different characters doing all different things, like some high tie, like Fat Pizza, like Super Wog, like all these things who I look up to a lot. Like,
Yep.
I grew up watching Crystal. I grew up watching Super Wog at school and, Fat Pizza with Tula, like Rebel Wilson. Like, a lot of people are saying like, you could be the next Rebel Wilson in Australia 100%. And I agree with
Yep.
that 100%. Like,
Yep.
it's something because I feel like Australia doesn't have very many, there's not a lot of, like we have comedians, but we don't have a lot that are, I don't know, Australia just doesn't really, I feel like Australia just doesn't give a shit about actors and comedians and musicians in the country. Like they just kind of like, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
You know what it
Like
is
I
with
see a lot of people who
Aussies?
struggle to.
I think the problem with Aussies is they're too laid back and they don't like cheese. They're like, I think anything that's a bit cheesy or a bit over the top, they're not really into that. But Americans, because they're so like over the top with things, they really embrace like the performing arts for that reason, I think. And I think, I reckon this country could do more with the Carlas. And I've always dabbled in a bit of comedy myself. I've always loved it. I've always loved to put on accents and be a bit funny and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, babe, maybe I can just get a wig and maybe we can like do a collaboration together, babe. Like we could totally be.
God.
Stop it. Oh.
Babe, I've got my little pussy purse with my Bondi boots. I'm so ready to go. I was gonna say, what I've noticed with Australia is we tend to gel more with comedies that are a bit more like towards, I wouldn't say racist side, but a lot more like race-based comedies are a lot funnier than watching something else. Like, you've got some Thai who he takes off like Jonah and like Fat Pizza and like Here Come the Habibs and Super Wog and, all that kind of stuff and like Kath and Kim. And I feel like Australians love to make fun of themselves. And I think that's what Carla is doing. Like, I love to have a laugh about myself. And I feel like Carla does the same thing. She's always saying dumb shit, always wants to have a laugh about herself, doesn't give two shits what she says or what people say about her. She doesn't care. And that's like what I want to show people. Like, you shouldn't be afraid to, if someone says you're ugly, well, guess what? You are too. I don't care. You see me complaining, bro? I'm hot. I know I'm hot.
You know what? That's good though. Like that's what I love about Carla is, if we could be a little bit more like that day to day, how amazing it would be for yourself to get through your day like that. Like, and I know from being in the public eye now that occasionally you get haters coming through on your DMs that just say stuff and you think,
100%. Where
did that come from? Like, who do you think you are sliding into my DMs stating stuff about me that just isn't true? And it can be so hurtful, but at the same time you're like, you know what, you can just choose to completely like not acknowledge it and go, yeah, whatever, man, like I'm hot, you know what I mean? Like, you think what you want type thing, just brushing it off, really brushing it off. And you know what, it's a skill set. I think it's just a skill set and it's a habit, and if you do it more often, eventually you become that person where you just don't give a shit about people who don't know you and their opinion of you. So
I mean, like, I used to, when I first started doing this stuff, like, I used to sit there and read the comments constantly. Like, I was always reading the comments and being like, oh my God, these people, like, they hate me. And Will literally, and my other best friend Tamika, they both said to me, like, you need to stop reading these comments because 90% of people that are watching think you're fucking hilarious, and just keep going with it. So now I just like, I could be on a live and I'll see someone commenting, they'll be like, yuck, you're so fat, ugly. And I'll be like, yeah, I am. And what? What do you want? Like,
and what do you say to that?
I'm like, I don't fucking care.
And
exactly. Well, if you can tell me something about myself that I don't even know, make fun of me for it, then I'll fucking give you my fucking money, mate. You can take it. Like, that's fine. But if you're gonna say the same shit over and over, I don't care. I
do you
full don't
find,
care, bro.
you know, best way to be, but do you find that when you come back with stuff like that, and I'm sure it takes them by surprise, does it shut them down?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I've gotten to a point now where I need to kind of I kind of want to watch what I say, because I don't want to make out like if someone says something horrible to me, I'm gonna clap back and say something horrible to them.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to promote that whole like, oh, if someone tells you to fuck off, tell them that they're fat and ugly. Like, I would never say that to somebody ever.
Yeah. Yep.
It's more so just like, how do I say it? It's more so like, you say to them, well, you know what, that's great, that's your opinion, that's fine. If you have your opinion on that, then I really don't care. Like, it doesn't bother me. I'm not going to take it on. I'm just going to let it go. Like, that's other people's opinion. I heard a saying ages ago that was, what people say about you is none of your business.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
true.
Yep.
That's a true thing.
100%. Like I've heard that multiple times, and like another good thing to come back with is whenever I've had really horrible things on the DM, which again has been very seldom. I've had a lot of love, but I did say to someone, I'm really sorry you're having a horrible day, and you felt the need to take the time to say that. You know, and sometimes I have clapped back, and I thought from now on, like if ever I get sort of the odd hater, I just call them out. I call them out on the stories, and it's embarrassing for them to think you've actually invested energy to insult someone. I think if you've got nothing nice to say, try and just not say it. Like, have a bitch to your friends, but you just don't know what someone's going through, and your hurtful words, whom you have no personal dealings with, but you feel that you're entitled to insult someone online. Your words can be quite damaging without you even realizing it, and that's why if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. That's my opinion on that. So yeah. Now, is there anything else you want to kind of chat about? But because I think we're probably going to wrap it up pretty quickly. Yeah. I love that wig. Oh, don't tell me I've lost you again. Can you hear me? Oh, here we go. Yes, I can hear you. I think we've lost audio. Guys, I think what we'll do... Oh, here we go. Talk.
Oh, I was wearing a headphone before. I'm just going to take it out. I don't care anymore.
Yeah. All right, awesome. Well, you know what? I think I'm good. I'm good with what we've spoken about today. What I'm going to do is I want to link in all your social stuff below in the description. But just for the audience, where can people find you online?
You can follow me at Carla from Bankstown on Instagram. You can go to youtube.com/Carla from Bankstown. I think Carla's got a Snapchat. I don't even use Snapchat half the time. TikTok as well. Carla's very big on TikTok. These fucking kids are so obsessed with TikTok right now. So, give me a follow, and like, hopefully people respond well to what I'm doing, because I just want to send a positive message to people. That's all I want to do. I just want to make people laugh, make people smile. That's the end of it.
Pardon me. How rude.
No, I don't want Corona. Don't cough on me, please.
I was waiting for it.
No.
All right, well, we're going to take it. All right, elbows. Let's do a quick elbow.
All right, yellow boy.
All right, yellow boy.
Go.
Thanks so much for jumping on the podcast today, Ben. It's been amazing. Love your guts.
You're very
and can't wait to come to Sydney again when all this corona settles down, or you come to Melbourne, whatever. But
the minute that finishes, I'm getting on the first fucking plane to Melbourne. I miss Melbourne.
Done. All right. Yalla bye.
All right, yellow bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you liked the content, please make sure you support the show by giving a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and turn on your post notifications so you are the first to know when a new show is released. This coming September, myself, Dino Hira from last season's Married at First Sight, Tabitha and Eleanor will be launching our first ever complete reset retreat here in Victoria, so please stay tuned for more developments on that as the months roll by. If you are interested in having me present a speaking presentation in your enterprise, sporting club or event, please send me an email. Link is below in the description. Thanks once again. You've been amazing to last this long, and join me again on the next episode.